Hello, it's Jo from Minerva. Today I'm going to do a fabric focus video. I'm calling them a fabric haul because I'm looking at all the fabrics that have a particular theme, and today we're looking at animal prints. Animal prints can range in colours, but you tend to get quite a lot around that caramel beige brown, but you can also have monochrome palettes and also some slightly funky animal prints. If you're choosing an animal print, just make sure that you check the fabric composition and don't just get lured in by the pattern. Make sure that if you need a cotton, you're getting a cotton. If you need an element of stretch, you're looking for that element of stretch. Throughout the video, I will take a stills photo of the pattern so that you can catch up and have a look at it if you want to. And I will also show today two patterns that work with two fabrics. So there's a bit of a sort of combination for you to choose from. I'm going to start off with some easy patterns to show you to pair with some animal prints, and I'll start with the fabrics that are easiest to work with. If you're a beginner, then working with cotton is a good place to start. This is a very funky animal print. It comes in two different colours. There's a green one and a mustard one. It's 43 inches wide. It's nice and firm and stable, and it's ideal for making pyjama bottoms. My second cotton fabric to show you is also 100% cotton. This one's by Rose and Hubble. It comes in 6 different colours. This is the ochre colourway. It's got a slightly smaller print on it. And it's a little bit lighter than the last fabric, so if you want your pyjamas to be the shorts version, this would work. It would also work for a cotton summer shirt. This is Burda 6527. It's got a sleeveless version, a very small cap sleeve and a shirt. The arm fitting's interesting on that one. You can change the bust quite easily. If you're looking for something with a little more drape for making tops with or blouses, then have a look at the crepes. This is a polyester crepe. It's got a beautiful drape to it and it's really soft. It's called soft polyester. And it's 59 inches wide, and this one's got sort of black and red and pink, and it's opaque. It would make a fabulous top with a little more drape, which is New Look 6892. There's view A and B I think would be really good for, and also for view F actually for holidays. It's easy, but there's a lot of views on that pattern for a one pattern, and it doesn't use very much fabric, around the sort of 130, 1.5 meters, unless you're making the longer one, which is about 2 meters. So have a look at our crepes if you like an animal print with drape. You can get really subtle animal print fabrics. This one is very subtle. It's just got the sort of markings, but it's also got a slight sort of sheen to it. This is a viscose, and I'm trying to get the light to catch it so you can see. It's really smooth, and this is a viscose, so it behaves like a polyester, but it's got more of a natural feel to it. This one comes in 2 colours. It's 57 inches wide, so this one's a bit wider, so you'll get more for your money on this one. And if you like working with an indie pattern, then this would work beautifully for this Atelier Jute blouse. This is called the Frida blouse, and it has a little slit at the front, a little grandad collar. You can't quite see it, but there's like gathers here on the yoke, and it's a 3/4 sleeve with a little cuff. So you'll get a nice gather with this on the yoke here because it's nice and light and it's got lots of drape. So that's a slightly more subtle animal print with the Frida blouse by Atelier Jute. The previous polyester crepe would also work with this blouse. I've made this blouse in crepe and that works too. So there's a viscose or a crepe that you could use here. My next selection are fabrics that have an amount of stretch in them, so then you can start to look at different patterns that you can use with those. There's some dresses, some sweatshirts and some tops. My first one to show you is a faux suede. So this is actually a stretch fabric. You can see it's got a stretch in both directions, not massively, just a nice amount. If you were making a dress, it wouldn't hang, it would just have that fitting ease. And it's got a real suede finish, sort of furry, but not velvety, just a really small pile on it. And the pattern is a sort of mix of animal prints and a sort of floral background. It's 90% polyester and 10% spandex, and it's 57 inches wide. It would be great for making the Billy sweatshirt if you're new to sewing, or if you're particularly new to sewing stretch. This one doesn't have too much stretch and it would be quite stable under the machine, but you'd have enough stretch to go across the shoulders and around the sleeves. The Billy sweatshirt, although it has a dress on the front, also has a set-in sleeve sweatshirt. You can have a balloon sleeve or a straight sleeve, and both of those would work with this fabric. This next fabric does have a velvet finish, and because of the velvet finish you also get a sort of shine to it as well. Look at that. So it's velvety and very stretchy, much more stretchy than the last one. Not in the length, but in the width. And it's really got a nice texture. Can you see? Let me get it in focus. And so again, this would be ideal for tops and sweatshirts and things, long sleeve sweatshirts, little small t-shirts. If you made a dress out of this, it is quite heavy. It's got a real kind of, it's got a heavy knit feel to it. So if you were making a wrap dress, you'd be okay. But if you're making something with gathers, you'd get quite a weight in that. So it would work for a stretch wrap dress, possibly not for anything with a long skirt. It'd be very heavy. But as an alternative to the Billy sweatshirt, this is the Deer and Doe Ondi sweatshirt, and this is a cropped version, so you get a slightly sort of neater fit with this. So it's short from the shoulder to the hem, and you can also have it with a little collar on it. So you wouldn't be able to make the collar in the stretch. You'd have to make the collar in something stable, but you can make the short sleeve top and the long sleeve top. And it would be ideal in this 100% polyester stretch. That's got 35% stretch. You'd also make a cardi, like a long waterfall cardigan or a long cardigan. The next stretch fabric is a bit slimmer. This one's a stretch jersey knit. And it's got a drape because it's 95% viscose and 5% elastane. It's 55 inches wide, and this is the print pattern. It's got a bit more grey in it than some of the other ones. You can see the texture there. And if you're wanting an easy knit, but an easy sew, but something with a bit of drape, then the ebony top or dress tunic from Closet Core Patterns is a beginner pattern. You can see there it requires that drape. Great with leggings, thick tights. Some people wear this one with leggings and boots. This one's styled with shoes, but you can also wear it more casually. This is called the ebony. Perfect for stretch knits, and this is a really good one. This has got a good drape to get those skirt and side panels. This is another viscose stretch knit. This one's more a snake print, a reptile print, black and grey, so none of the brown tones in this one. But it's exactly the same weight fabric as the last one. It's a viscose and spandex. It's 58 inches wide. And so obviously this one would make the ebony top and dress, and it would also make a wrap dress. So this is New Look 6301. You can make this wrap dress in quite a thick fabric for winter, like in a Ponte Roma, or you can make it in a lighter viscose with the short sleeves for a spring. But if you made it in the long sleeved one in this, you can wear a jacket with it, and it's got a real nice flow to it. So when you get the wrap, you'll get a little bit of extra fitting ease, and that's a viscose as well. In the same weight bracket as the last couple of fabrics, this is a cat print. It's nice and light. It's 96% viscose and 4% spandex. Now this one's called, it's a little bit textured. So the other two were smooth jerseys. This one's a little bit textured. It's called crepe jersey. So it's got the same sort of finish that you'd expect to see on crepe fabric, like tiny little bubbles. But it's a stretch. There we go. Got really good stretch. And so I'm choosing this one for a jumpsuit because it's not as heavy as the last one in terms of the weight of the hand, or even though it's viscose, it's a bit lighter. So I'm choosing a jumpsuit because there's quite a bit of fabric in a jumpsuit. This is the Sirocco Deer and Doe jumpsuit, and it does require a particular amount of stretch recovery so that you can get it across your hips. So this fabric would work. You'd get that nice crepe finish, and it would stretch so that you could get fitting on the top and fitting around the waist. So this one is just a little bit different type of viscose. This one's a crepe viscose, and it would make the Sirocco jumpsuit. My last stretch print has a bit of a mix up on it. So it's got the animal print background and then a floral foreground. And this one is a viscose jersey. This one's quite light. It's not too hand heavy. And this one's got a lot of stretch, and it's quite thin. It's thinner than the other two viscose ones. But with that in mind, I've pattern paired it with something that requires a lot of material, because if you want something with a lot of material, you don't want the fabric to be too heavy. So I've chosen the Kilo wrap dress, and this is a dress that's made like a huge sweatshirt but with ties on. So there's a lot of fabric in there, and you need enough fabric to do the waist tie but without adding bulk. So the previous cat crepe textured jersey would make this because it's light, and so would this one because it's got the stretch but not loads and loads of weight to it. So that's that's by Named Clothing, and that's called the Kilo wrap dress. There's loads of those to look at on our website. If you click on the product below and have a look at the ones that people have made, you'll see the fabrics that they've chosen. My next two fabrics are for the McCall's 7969, an incredibly popular pattern. I know it was a download for a while, and you can get lots of inspiration for this pattern by clicking on the link below. There's a couple of fabrics here that would make it. These are sort of crepes or viscose fabrics. All of those would work. This one's 100% viscose. It's got a different colourway slightly, a sort of darker tone. It's chocolate, I think it's called. Oh, coffee, sorry. So this one works really well for anything that's got a drape or lots and lots of gathers. And there's an example of that here. This second one has a really different colour palette. If the sort of browns and beiges isn't for your skin tone, then this one is lovely. This is also a viscose chalet. So this one's a bit lighter than the last one. It has a smooth texture. The last one has a slight sort of crepe texture. This one has a smoother texture. It's very nice. It's 55 inches wide. And again, it would be perfect for the McCall's 7969. It's just got a sort of watercolour wash background, which would be great. This one would also work for any of the blouses that I showed you before, the Frida blouse or the New Look blouse with the long sleeves. My next two fabrics are for the Sew Over It Pussy Bow blouse. There's a couple of versions here. There's one that ties at the top and one that ties as a v-neck. I've also made this with short sleeves actually. I've just hacked the pattern myself and made it into short sleeves. It's nice and easy, the fastenings aren't difficult. And again, this would work with a viscose because you need the drape for the bow. This one's quite a brown colour palette. Quite a subtle animal print texture on that one. And that comes in one colour, but it is quite a good budget fabric, that one. And if you want to just have a go at the Pussy Bow blouse, that would be ideal. Or you can use a crepe for this same pattern. So this one's a different colourway. This has got a sort of grey, a very little bit of tan in there. This is a polyester crepe, comes in two colours. It's very wide, it's 59 inches wide. And this has just got a sort of smoother finish, a bit more of a kind of evening finish maybe, or a work finish, whereas a viscose has got that sort of slightly cotton feel. That is very nice. This would also make a dress because although it's white, it's not see-through. So there's two draping fabrics for the Sew Over It Pussy Bow blouse. The next fabric I'm showing you has a sort of a bit more of a weave to it. So this one is 100% viscose, but it has more of a cotton feel to it. It hasn't got quite as much drape and give as the last viscose, the very brown one. This one's got a little bit more structure, which lends itself to dressmaking because you've got enough structure there to get a collar or a button band. And I'm suggesting that you use it for the Lyra dress by Tilly and the Buttons, because you'll need enough for the collar. This is the Lyra dress I'm wearing. You'll need enough for the collar. You'll need to interface this fabric and for the button band, but it's loose enough to get the tiers. It's a sort of double whammy because it's strong enough for the top, but it's drapey enough for the bottom. So that's a perfect fabric for the Lyra dress. But of course you can make a more structured Lyra dress using the cottons from the beginning of the video. The short sleeved one would be great in one of the cottons from earlier on. It just depends what look you want, and it depends what you're going to wear it for. It depends on which fabric you would choose. My next choice was inspired by a Minerva maker. So this animal print is a zebra one. It's on a cotton. It's from Rose and Hubble. So it's a really nice quality. It's a cotton poplin. And when I say the words cotton poplin, I know in my mind I'm thinking shirt straight away. So to give yourself a bit of variety, if you get the Cali shirt dress, you can get a shirt and a shirt dress. There's lots of versions on the back. You can have it with a placket, you can have it that pops over your head, you can have it with a collar or a grandad collar, you can have it with a concealed button band if you want to just test your skills a little bit. So this fabric would make a lovely Lyra, like I just showed you, but it would also make a fabulous shirt dress or shirt. And the one that I really liked is here. My final selection are for evening wear or special occasions, and this one is a beautiful crepe. It's black and white, subtle print. It's 100% polyester and it's 59 inches wide. It's got a lovely feel to it, nice and light, perfect for holiday wear, won't crease in your suitcase. But it would also make some lovely evening wear from New Look 6662. And this pattern has a beautiful top, and the top has a sash that comes down from the shoulder and then ties at the waist. There are also trousers with this pattern that you can make in crepe. but I think that this viscose would make the top with that tie, and it would have a real super smooth finish. My next pairing is two fabrics for one pattern, which is Simplicity 8637, and not for view A particularly, but for this view here with the flounce. So you can have the short sleeve with the flounce, you can have a long sleeve with the flounce, or sleeveless. So there's lots of different ways that you can make that up. You can also use the cold shoulder. That would work with these next two fabrics. So the first one is a satin, and this one's a very subtle animal print. So if animal print's not your thing, but you like the colourway here, that is absolutely stunning. And although it's really light, it's opaque. So you would get a beautiful flounce that would show the sheen of this fabric. And it's a stretch woven, so oops. So you'll get a bit of fitting ease around here and around your hips, although that is a wrap dress, so it's quite easy fitting. And it looks a very complex pattern, but actually if you can make darts, that's how you fit it. You've just got to be able to handle a large piece of flounce fabric cut on the bias. So there's quite a lot of sort of fabric handling skills in that rather than special sewing techniques. But it would look superb in this stretch satin. This is 97% polyester and a little bit of elastine. It's 57 inches wide. It would also make anything with like a cowl front. So a slip dress that has a sort of cowl front like that would also do that, because it's got that sheen that just catches the light as the fabric folds. So that's my one option. My second option, which would be particularly good for this view, is a crinkle crepe. So this one has got a slight crinkle in it. It's got the print. Let me see if I can show you the crinkle effect. There you are. It's got a sort of vertical crinkle running to it, and a sort of slight sheen, not as satiny as the last one, but a lovely sheen. It's 59 inches wide, and this one is a little bit more sheer. Would still be okay. You could wear a slip underneath or a camisole underneath, but again this would make a beautiful flounce. So you would have your bodice and your wrap and your tie, and then this flounce around the bottom would be absolutely dramatic and a special make. So my two fabrics are for Simplicity 8639, thinking about that flounce. I've saved something rather special to last. This is a stretch brocade, and it comes in only two colours, but and I suppose if those colours aren't your thing, it's a shame really, but a brocade would make this pattern anyway, whether it was animal print or not. It comes in a sort of yellow, and there's a lime one as well. So you've got that satin, and you've got a little bit of give, a little bit of stretch, and a very firm fabric for something more structured. So I have chosen a Vogue pattern, which is 8146, because I think you'd get a really crisp shift dress, but also with the folds in the back of that jacket, you would be able to manipulate the shine a little bit. So you'd have the folds, the darker areas of yellow, and then the shine as a highlight. There's a couple of these that you can look at. Minerva makers have made them, and they all look fabulous. It's got a little collar and large buttons at the front. It's a sort of short style. This one is 57 inches wide. So if you're making the whole suit, you'd get good value out of this. And there's a really nice one by Julie Williamson. And you can see why I've chosen this fabric to make that jacket, because it would make the most gorgeous mother of the bride outfit or wedding outfit for anybody really. So that's my brocade choice for Vogue 8146. I hope that haul of 20 fabrics has inspired you to take a look at some animal prints. You can see that some are quite outrageous and some are very subtle, and there's different fabric compositions, so you can pair them with all sorts of different patterns. The fabric that I'm wearing today is a linen mix, and that has a little bit of stretch in it, and it's quite a subtle print. It's got a drape, it's just enough to hold the collar, and this is the Lyra dress. If you would like to take a look at anything that I've talked about today, all the products are listed below. If you click on the patterns, you can see what fabrics people have chosen. If you click on the fabrics, you can see how people have used an animal print and how they've incorporated it into their wardrobe. Thank you very much for watching. Come back for a fabric haul again soon.